Hi, Justina here from Flight of the Phoenix Holistic Therapy. Welcome. Um, Today we're gonna be talking about attachment theory a little bit, my view of it, really, and life examples, and how it translates our childhood trauma and primary relationships translate into our adult life, and how they impact our relationship. I will be mainly talking about abusive relationship and domestic violence because this is my experience, and I want to give you a little pre-warning that this video might be triggering in some ways, as I will be recalling or describing how I experienced and got myself into abusive relationship. But in saying that, we're going to be touching a little bit on theory as well. Before we go any further, I would like to remind you that if you like this video, any of my content, I would appreciate if you could like it, share it, or subscribe to my channel. I also want to mention a training course that I've been working on. It is a self-paced training course called over responsible and undervalued, breaking free from emotional labor. So I'm going to put a little link in the description box below so you can learn more about it if you're interested. But let's go back to the topic. So, abusive relationships, trauma, childhood trauma, and the attachment styles. So, um, John Bowlby developed the attachment theory, and this theory was expanded further by Mary Ainsworth. And there are four main attachment styles. We have the secure attachment style, we have anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. So I will be definitely focusing more on disorganized because this is the type of attachment I had. However, just for the purpose of this video and short introduction, I want to give example of the other styles. So secure attachment is attachments that is safe, that is healthy, supportive, reliable, consistent. It's something we had in our house. We saw it as children growing up, and that is the relationship we will be building in the future with our future partners and future friendships and love partners, romantic partners. Anxious attachment is when the love is a little bit unpredictable, there's a bit of distance, and we develop this fear, like separation anxiety from our parents, where we become a little bit clingy. So we constantly fear that we will be abandoned, that we need to kind of cling to the person, make sure we show them love and value for them to stay with us. At least this is my view of it. Avoidant is where the parents were emotionally unavailable. Therefore, a person might develop avoidant attachment where actually when they get too close in relationship, um, they might want to stay away, push away, cause argument or break up because it's getting too much, too close. And it's quite often that anxious and avoidant somehow gravitate towards each other. So there is this clingy person with someone who avoids contact and too much clinginess. Um, but that's another story, and I don't want to really go deeply into this. And disorganized attachment, which is the one I'm mostly interested in for my own benefit, is about unpredictable environments. So when your parents were causing both um, were source of love and fear. Um, you weren't quite sure which one you're gonna get, so you were constantly navigating your environment and learning from the environment, from the faces, the gestures, the expression of your parents. What parent you're gonna get today? Will it be a happy parent or not happy parent, and you're gonna have to be avoiding them. So you develop push and pull. Sorry, I just heard drilling. Push and pull dynamics, where in relationships, the way it looks, it's um, you might fear that someone, like the way I felt, you might fear that someone will abandon you, um, but at the same time, you will push them away. So it's quite chaotic relationship. Um, with this little introduction, I want to go into the relationships because and the way I was building them. So we know what we know, and what we know is mainly what we learned from our environment when we were growing up. It's something I repeat all the time that you learn, you acquire most of your kind of base knowledge or foundations of your belief system in the first 7 years of your life. And whatever you experience there, you think this is kind of absolute truth till you learn different, till you have new insights, till you decide to change and recognize that what used to be um, something that you believed in is no longer good for you. So when I was a child, or even young girl, I was never picked as a first for anything. I was always second. I never been considered specifically clever or beautiful or rich or any of it. I was always quite average person. And that's how I would describe myself growing up. Almost hiding even to the point. And so I had quite a low self-esteem. And I basically thought I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. Whatever I have is just, I will never have like good looking guy, or my relationship will be just average like myself. Very good belief system. But then I entered new world, which was a new country, and I met many different men, and suddenly I wasn't so average. People were actually looking at me, and I got more interest, and that was strange for me to get so much attention, but still having that belief system that I'm not worthy. I would jump into relationships really fast. Because it was also tainted by the fact that I lost my sister quite early in life, and I didn't want to waste time. I mean, what's the point? Every romantic movie you watch, they seem to missing each other, and then at the end there is this beautiful love story. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm not gonna play games. I'm just gonna go straight into it, be honest, and not just get on with it. Life is short. Let's not waste it. A kind of attitude. And unfortunately, some of my relationships weren't, well, shouldn't happen really. I got myself into some, they weren't at the beginning bad, like all the people I met, I still have feelings for and value deeply. I just think it was for some, it was wrong time, wrong place, wrong season, different maturity levels, and all that, different paths. But this one relationship I got myself into because it was my choice, and the way I fell for it was pretty big. So I spotted the guy. It was like in a club. I was obviously drunk, but he just looked amazing. He was so charming. He was a good dancer. He was just well, different, I guess, background from mine. Nothing I ever seen before. Very charismatic. Um, and yeah, he wanted to dance with me and enjoy my company, and I just got completely head over heels. Um, and gave myself completely to relationship. And maybe let's let's kind of put a little chapter here. So at the beginning, the pool was quite big. Like I felt like, oh my God, this guy wants to be with me. Like, hello, this is so strange, and I just couldn't let him go. I became very well clingy. I was very available. I was always with him wherever he went. I would be there, even if I wasn't needed or invited, I built my entire first month around that guy. So we're talking here, the first month, I have literally spent from the day we met every single day with him. Um, I would go to work in the morning. I would then have a shower, wash and everything, get ready to go out after work with him, spend night with him, wake up in his house in the morning and then get ready, go to work, and the cycle would continue. It was from the beginning very unhealthy approach. Just to summarize here, because I just went straight for it. I had absolutely no other needs apart from seeing him. Um, it was quite toxic, but at the time I wasn't seeing it. Within the first month, I was moved in with him. Within the 2 months, things started changing a little bit. And but before I get there, so I want to kind of point out like what happened. Um, I always felt like because I'm so unworthy and so average, that I have to really show my value. Why it is good to have me in your life. So, I would be um, cooking, cleaning, looking after the needs, be available sexually, whatever needed to be done. I was there as if I didn't belong to myself. I had absolutely no boundaries, no respect for my own worth or needs, or he was the only thing I needed. I built myself around him, evolving around the sun, basically. And there were red flags because, like, well, apart from my own behavior, the red flags were that the way he would hold me, it would be kind of by the neck, like he would just hold me and walk with me like that, and I used to love it. I was like, yeah, like I belong to him. I belong to someone, and he was so masculine and confident at first sight, and charismatic, like I said. Um, but there was some sort of aggression, toxicity, and he was a good fighter, which I've noticed because he was having a lot of kind of fights around me or arguments, either with uh, people at the pub where we would frequent, or in his family. And yeah, that should be a red flag, but it was somehow exciting. For some reason, that toxicity was familiar. It was something I considered exciting at like, I repeat myself, but exciting and intoxicating and something that made me feel alive, and I wanted to be around it. Um, yeah, I guess it's also been something to do with the movies I was watching when I was a kid. Like, not saying that I was impacted by movies, but I was. I guess, like Rebel Man. Like, my God, if he owned a leather jacket and a motorbike, I would probably die on the spot. So um, it was just very um, addictive. I got really trapped really fast. And there were signs, whenever he was secretive, like he would hide stuff from me. He wouldn't tell me everything. And I'm not meaning here that I was just clingy towards him and he would um, not tell me where he was. It wasn't about that. It was more about I just didn't know much about um like his visa situation, or like it would take a lot of, from for me to pull out information from him about his stuff, his financial stuff, his any stuff, that kind of thing. And I guess nothing wrong with that till it affects you, right? So what happened was, within, so first month, yeah, I was already living with him. Second month, I um he lost job because he had some altercation at work. He lost job, and I thought it was temporary situation, but it turned out to be um my entire relationship. So 2.5 years he wasn't working. He was working 2 months of our relationship, and then it was just everything on me. I became a breadwinner, um, buying everything from food to paying the bills to his clothes. That should be a red flag, but I was like, oh no, I am good girl. I have big heart. I'm gonna look after him, protect him. And this is what a good person would do. Like, I'm not going to turn back on someone I love because they lost a job. That's not the right thing to do. This is exactly what I thought to myself. But the disrespect started, and like it would be just like minimal, but there would be like disrespect and like little shoving and like towering, and we would start arguing. And I am not someone who I am not a very quiet person, and I would um well argue with him. I never thought it would end up in fights, but a physical fight, but um it did eventually. Um but yeah, let's just say there were small shifts, like just very tiny thing of like, yeah, him discovering that he's a little bit aggressive, that he's a little bit fast with his temper, which was exciting, I guess, and then lost the job, a loss of the job, and the fact that I had to now pay everything, um and the secrecy. And then he went away to his home country for like 2 or 3 months, and I was like, I've been widowed, literally crying to the pillow, didn't eat. I was so heartbroken. I couldn't breathe without him. It was just like impossible. I guess good thing in it was that in normal domestic violence cases, the victim is the one that is not earning anything. Um, and are on the mercy of the abuser. But good thing was that I was the one that was earning money, therefore my movement was a little bit easier. Um, so yes, so he went away, then he came back, and stuff started getting a little bit more confusing. I felt that I'm always to blame, that I'm starting everything, that I'm aggressive, that I'm crazy, that I'm making up stories. I started questioning my sanity. Um, and there was a lot of moments of that he would just leave the house and come back whenever he wanted without telling me where he is, why he's doing what he's doing. I'm sure there was some cheating involved, on which I felt somewhat I caught him. Um, so yeah, it was all very um, decideful, if that's the correct word. Like I didn't feel like I'm in stable, reliable relationship. I felt that I was running this relationship on toxicity, attachment, and familiarity, because this was familiar. He wasn't always bad. He was actually very charming and loving and kind when he wanted to. So there was this confusion in my system, like I had in my childhood home, where um, I didn't know who I'm getting today or in this hour. Is this a nice person or an asshole? And and that was familiar to me because that was how kind of my mother used to be, right? Or whatever. My mom can be both um, um, energies, aggressive and nice, and the same was with this man. Um, and I was very confused. I started questioning if this was good for me, and I have made the decision to leave. And I kind of ran away like a coward. I wrote him a letter, I packed my bags, and I ran away. And I survived for about 3 weeks, and I was missing him like he was a drug. I just found everything else boring. Um, that was my way out, but I came back to him, and everything in my body was saying no. Even my friend was saying, I don't think this is a good idea. And it wasn't. Let me just tell you that, because when I come back, we had the honeymoon phase, and we had amazing time, and he was that nice version of himself. But stuff escalated pretty quickly, and the control increased. He took my mobile phone away from me. That was actually my work phone. He was checking all my work emails, calling me every 5 minutes, asking me who I am dressing for in this office, accusing me of cheating in the office place, in the workplace, um, being just very possessive, vulgar, um, calling me names, accusing me of things, towering over me, violating my personal space. And there were only maybe 2 or 3 incidents of like quite awful violence. One involved headbutting, the other nearly breaking my arm and suffocating me in the middle of the night. Um, and and I just somehow I was like, this is not right. I think I'm not good with this. I started lying for him, though. I started creating stories, telling people things, because my bruises weren't visible on my face or anything. It was more like in my arms, because he used to was grabbing me by my shoulder and dragging me. So nobody ever saw like any bruises or, to be honest, I feel like the way he was hitting me was not to hurt me as such. It was more to show me who's in charge, who's in power, who's in control. And my power over him was the money, and I was definitely telling him that, and it wasn't healthy relationship. And I'm not gonna say that he was a monster. I feel he had his own troubles, and we were immature in our love. We both had our own attachment styles and our own issues, and we dealt with the situation how we dealt. And I know we're not good for each other, and but it was like coming off basically of addiction. And one day, basically, I decided that I can't live like that anymore. I feel exhausted. I was burned out. Um, with all the pretending, with all the arguments, with the violation. I don't really want to go deep into that because there's no point. You got the gist. Um, but the breaking point was where, um, yeah, where he nearly broke my arm, and I felt like this is so toxic and so aggressive that I will either hurt him badly or he will hurt me badly. And I didn't know how far we can go with this. Because he did threaten me. Just because you don't do it doesn't mean it feels okay when someone tells you that they're gonna send you back in a black bag to Poland. Um, it's terrifying. It's And today, as a person after this experience, as someone who processed it and educated themselves about it, it's unreal that this was normal to me. He did try to isolate my friends. I didn't really have many friends because for me, I had one friend. For me, my boyfriend was my everything. It's always been that way. I don't see anything else. I don't see I gave everything to that one person. And this was in all my relationship. It's not like it was just in this one. Um, but obviously this time I was learning a hard lesson of, do you really think this is what you deserve? And I said to myself, no. But my healing process wasn't that quick and it wasn't that easy. And when I left, he done all his tricks that he would do to keep me in, like threatening, like begging, crying, calling me names. Um, but I decided to leave and found myself in a situation that, yeah, I am single and free, but I was in debt. I was paying for two flats. I was broken. I was earning money, but all my money were going to debt and bills. There was not much left for me to eat, even. And my dad would still call me for money to help. So it was really hard. 2.5 years after my 2.5 year relationship, um, it didn't I didn't heal. I didn't process it. I came out and I was like wild animal. I started drinking even more. I definitely increased my number of men I was having in my life, um, that I had before. Um, I was, I think the only thing I was doing for health was a little bit of gym before work, but mainly I was working and drinking, and that is all I was doing. Um, and partying, obviously, yes, drinking, partying, all that stuff. I felt no value of myself. I felt no respect for myself. I didn't feel like my body belonged to me. Um, I thought there's just no point of anything anymore. But I was keep fighting because I am survivor. Like I wanted to build life, and I was in a shit situation, but I believe that somehow someday I maybe wake up and something gonna happen. But that took a moment. It actually took for my father to die 2 years after my relationship finished, and then some clarity started coming up. Then I started walking more. I started running to work. And yeah, I still was following my toxic behaviors. I was still getting addicted to people. Not in a clingy way again, but yeah, there was a connection to some people, and I would just when I saw them, I was very excited and happy, and again started overgiving. Um, and when my father died, I started, I don't know, I think I changed a little bit. From very toxic behavior, from something I'm not proud of, and it's really hard to even recall that stuff because it's still emotional. But I forgive myself for things that I have done when I didn't know better and when I was really in my lowest point of life. I'm not there anymore. But why I'm recording this video again to remind myself that this all happened because I thought it was normal. It was familiar to me. It was something I recognized. Um, I chose this relationship because it reminded me of home. And I can't stress this enough. Not that my father was an abusive man, it was my mother who was a little bit toxic and aggressive and abusive, but not in a violent towards me way, more by words. But the point is that because of the childhood experiences, I reacted willingly to such opportunity or relationship, and it made everything else look boring. The stability felt boring. The stable people felt boring. I needed to feel. I wanted to feel. And maybe drama added some spice to my life because it was so average before. I'm still processing, as you can see, why we got to this situation, why I got there. It could have ended very badly. I could have ended in so many ways in my life. I could have ended up on the street. I could have ended up dead. I could have get myself into more relationship of the same type and repeat the cycle. But thankfully, I evolved after that, and I didn't have to repeat that same cycle. Um, so turning point was, yeah, that died. I moved on. I started healing, and very slowly, one step at a time. It was not a fast action. And then I met my current husband, and it was so easy. I didn't have to try hard. I still showed my value because nothing changed. I still was thinking I'm an unworthy piece of shit. So I was, overcompensating with service, with making sure I'm available for everything, for, cleaning, cooking, and whatever is needed out of me. But the difference was that um, the way I was treated with respect. Uh, the, my current husband, was reliable, consistent. He wasn't criticizing me for anything. Literally, anything I wore or whatever I done with my hair, or makeup, it was never a problem. Not like with my previous relationship, everything was wrong with me. Too fat, too skinny, take that mascara out of your face. All that crap that was gone. There was no criticism of how I look, who I am. Um, there was trust from the beginning. Um, and there was ambition. There was something more to life. Um, we had plans, and those plans were because I still made plans, even though I had no money to execute them, and but I had hopes how I would like my life to be, and it turned out he, a completely unknown person at the time, had similar plans and similar values and similar kind of thoughts. Everything was like breeze. It was easy. I didn't have to struggle. I didn't have to push and force, um, or cling or chase. He would just show up, you know. Um, and I never been chased like that by anyone. I never been, not chased. Chased is a wrong word. I never had interest from anyone like that, at all in that way. Um, it was a healthy interest. It was supportive. It was, I like you. I want to be around you. But it wasn't too much. It wasn't too fast. And some lessons I retained from my previous relationship when I decided, okay, we're gonna take time with moving in with the person. Um, it took a year, I think, and some before I moved in. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't healed at all. I was still searching for toxic stuff. I was still clinging to excitement and what I knew. Um, but the way he was and the way we were together, supportive, working together, complementing each other, we became family. And yeah, he never broke the promise. He never betrayed me. Mm, and then you learn from that, what the secure and healthy relationship is all about. And you start changing what is right for you and kind of recognizing, okay, this was bad and toxic for me, even though familiar, it's not right. The secure consistency, stability, this is good for me, this is healthy, this is right. And yeah, I even wrote in our wedding vows, and I'm gonna read it a bit here, and that without going into entire thing, I said to him that you have redefined my understanding of partnership and love. With your actions and words, you have shown me the beauty of the world and taught me that I deserve the best in life and that we can have it all. It, it's lovely to have a partner like that. But it was constant choice making that this is right for me, that the toxic is not right for me, because I was tempted many times. Um, and I still would be or am, because we all keen, especially in today's society, for quick fixes, for quick pleasures. Um, we all wanted this novelty rush. And for someone like me who's um, well, trauma survivor, someone who had a lot of history of pain and abuse and toxicity, um, I need to pull myself back and keep control over myself because it's so easy to destroy within seconds everything you have built over decades. It's very easy, and we all do it. A lot of people doing it, you know, you know. But let's come back to why I kind of yes how the healing looks like, from it. So my to give recap, my attachment initially was disorganized. I was both pushing and pulling. I was both clingy, anxious that I will be left, and I was at the same time arguing, pushing away. You leave me. I don't mind. Standoffish. So same dynamics that I learned at home. This was in all my relationship. I was pretty good in cutting off people if I needed to. Um, yeah, pretty fast and not being at all emotional about it, because once I decided something, that was it. I'm done with you and I'm moving on to my next boyfriend. And that is something that I've been actually doing, the jumping from one to another. I had quite a cycle of it. Um, yeah, I had about one, two, three, four relationship without any breaks. I was falling from one to another, not healthy at all. Between my current husband and the toxic person, there was a 2.5 or almost 3 years difference. I had time to sort myself out. Did I spend that time wisely? No, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Like, I was making myself busy. I was working really hard and I was studying. I didn't have time for healing and going to a psychologist who always, I actually did try. I went to psychologist once and I was just telling my life story and there was just no, I didn't feel like I'm being heard, like I was, that they resonated with me. There was just this silence and I didn't feel like they understand me or go what I'm going through. And I felt, and to be honest, I treated my mental health as secondary. Everything else was more important because I was survivor. I didn't have time to sit and dwell. I had to earn money and survive. Yeah, that was my priority at the time. And that is what you need to do when you are in a hard situation. But and it took years to kind of build a healthy uh, relationship, and it's still a work in progress. Um, it's yeah, it is, especially for someone like me. I need to control my behaviors, my urges, my stuff that feels familiar to me. Um, like the intuition or the butterflies in the body or the excitement. Um, it's very confusing because, I mean, obviously, as someone who's addicted to something, gonna feel butterflies and excitement when they see something that is their drug. So that was same for me. So should I follow what my body tells me? No, absolutely not. Um, and sometimes people say follow what your heart says, but my heart very silent. It's hard to predict or feel, is it yes or is it no? Is this the right person for me or is it not? Um, so now I have a little strategy that basically I follow stability, consistency, and reliability because this is what I need. Not to the point of boredom that I'm gonna lock myself completely and this is what I'm gonna do. But I'm not gonna follow someone who's, I don't know, wears a, not wears, more like is unpredictable. Yeah, I'm not gonna follow someone who's inconsistent, who likes drama. I don't need it. I can create it for you if you like, but I don't need it. Mm, so yes, I think what I want to say with that we healing all the time. So even though my awareness is quite big and I can recall memories of the past trauma and drama I experienced, um, I'm still, this is still part of me. I am still that person somewhere. And I need to love that person and care for that person and befriend that person. I can't reject her because she made some bad choices in life. It was all for a reason. It had a purpose. We learned from it. And now we can choose different. Now we're more aware. So I'm gonna finish this because it's a long story now, but abuse equaled love to me back in the day. Now, love means to me safety, consistency, reliability, stability. This is what I need. This is what is true to me. Um, and I guess I leave you with this. What is your attachment style? And has it changed over the years? Because mine changed from disorganized to more secure. So I wonder where you are in your journey. If you feel called, comment below, like, share, and subscribe. Take care. Bye bye.